Good morning, everyone. This is Srikant Rajan. Welcome to the Stock Market Podcast from MPIinvest.com, the only platform where you learn to invest and trade in the stock market, plan your financial goals, invest in different financial assets, and grow with a community of knowledgeable investors. If you're not a part of the community yet, visit our website MPIinvest.com to join the community free of cost. Coming to the market yesterday, the Nifty opened at 16,021 and immediately went on to a complete selling mode. In fact, it even breached the 15,800 support, and at a brief point of time, it was at a low of 15,735. But from there, we could see some short covering coming in, and the market started rising at the end of the day and finally closed at 15,808, which was again above the 15,800 support. So things were kind of very negative yesterday, majorly after the US inflation data came in. But then after that, yesterday we could also see the Indian inflation data which came up, and the inflation has actually gone up in April. Yes, so inflation in April has touched 7.79%, which is the highest since May 2014. In May 2014, it was 8.33%. In fact, the analysts had expected the CPI inflation to be around 7.5%, which is of course up from 6.95% in March, but then it has actually come out at 7.79, which is higher than expectation. In fact, if you look at the market also, things have been going costly across what we see, is it not? The consumer durables also are witnessing almost 3 to 5% price hike, as the import duty and import cost is going higher. So with all this, things are not looking good in terms of inflation. Even cotton prices have gained almost 40% in 2022 and are at the 11-year high prices as of now, majorly because of the demand and supply mismatch. So if we look at logically at this, we are also partly responsible for the inflation going up, aren't we? Because one, when the market actually was into a tough situation after the pandemic, the interest rates were reduced by RBI, and which also affected that all the loans across was available at a very cheap rate. So what we did, probably liquidity was more, we had more fund. Even our own expense was kind of low, is it not? When we had lockdowns, when we were working from home, the expenses were less. There was no weekend outing, there was no traveling, so kind of expenses were less. So we had more of liquidity with us, more funds with us, probably because of which we started spending more. Probably it was online or online shopping, or it could be even some buying gadgets, buying home. So all these things that happen, and many a times when we have enough fund with us, we also tend to spend little more than required. And that is when slowly inflation starts going up, because we don't bargain anymore with our vendors. It could happen that the prices are going up, just going up and up and up, and there has to be some control somewhere. That's exactly where this inflation data comes in. So when we are monitoring the inflation data, we see the prices going up. That is one. And then it is time we control it also. How do we control it? Manage your expense, right? Get some negotiated rates whenever you're buying something. So all these things are something very important. But apart from that, there are few things which are not in our control. For example, the Russia-Ukraine war was never in our control, isn't it? So that is another major reason why the inflation is going up, majorly because of the food and the fuel prices going up. Basically, the food prices are going up because the fuel prices are going up. The transportation cost is going up. So why is the fuel cost going up? Naturally, because of the short supply of fuel from Russia. So with all these things globally, the markets are affected majorly because of the Russia and Ukraine war. So this is why war is kind of, it's so much negativity in the entire world that's coming up just because of war. Imagine what is the situation in Russia and Ukraine. Is it okay there? They are in even bigger trouble. So war is never a solution, but we just can hope that this kind of settles soon and things get back to normal. In fact, the entire world was kind of coping up with the pandemic and just coming out of it when the Russia-Ukraine war started. Things were kind of looking very good as the pandemic was coming into control, but then the Russia and Ukraine war has actually put things off the table, across the world, and that's something which is not right. So yes, we had a major fall yesterday in the Indian market. The major supports were broken. The inflation is higher. But with all this, one thing I could say is there is some positivity at end of the tunnel. Yes. So if you look at the US market, which has been falling really big in the past few days, has finally reduced the fall. Yes. In fact, if you look at yesterday, in the evening market podcast, I had told you that US markets were kind of rising, and from there again there was a fall. Yes, but after all the fall, it actually did rise again, and finally the US market has closed in a small negative. In the Dow was down almost 0.33%, but apart from that, S&P 500 also was down just 0.13%, whereas Nasdaq was slightly green, 0.06% up. So things are, at least the fall has reduced in the global market. But something really interesting I would like to tell you is, not only the fall was kind of arrested, but along with that, today as I see the market, the US futures are edging higher. Yes, so the US futures are already up as I see right now. The Nasdaq is almost up 1%, and S&P 500 is up almost 0.71%, and Dow Jones is also up about 0.5%. I'm talking about the futures. So this is kind of something good. And just for you to understand, yesterday after Indian markets closed, the SGX Nifty also in fact went on to trade lower at almost 15,700. Yes. So things were not looking good, but things have kind of changed after the positivity came in the US market. But then, yes, India is yet to react for the inflation data which came yesterday after the market closed. So that's something that we have to look forward to. But apart from that, we also have SBI results today, which can be noted. Now, coming to the market, if you look at the US markets again, majorly the buying came in all the beaten down stocks. So if you look, most of the tech companies are down. In fact, even if you look at a stock like Apple also fell almost 2.7%. In fact, it is down 22% from its 52-week high. In fact, this fall in Apple has even dethroned them from the world's most valuable company. In fact, yesterday with this kind of fall, Saudi Aramco has become the world's most valuable company in terms of the total market capitalization, just because of the fall in the US. So this is how the market is getting affected in the US. And if you see, even one good news would be in US is that Jerome Powell has been reappointed for his next term at the Federal Reserve. So which is good because he has experience handling the situation, and he has been handling the market for a really long time. So if you see, if there was a new person who would have taken that place now, that would have actually sent more jitters in the market, because we don't know how that person is going to react to the situation. However, Jerome Powell has come out and said that he cannot guarantee a soft landing to this inflation. Yes, so that means there could be a small recession also that could actually come up before the inflation actually could come down. But then US inflation is much higher than Indian. So things are kind of still kind of settling down in US, I would say. So let us see what happens. But apart from that, and if you look at Indian inflation is also higher, but then I would say things can be controlled soon, because India has more of its dependency is kind of reducing on the global markets, which except for crude oil, which is of course a major problem. But apart from that, things are kind of looking okay, because if you look at the inflation data yesterday, the inflation data was majorly high because of two reasons. One, higher crude oil price, and two, higher palm oil price. So these are two major factors which can actually drastically come down immediately when the Russia-Ukraine war kind of settles down. But when is that going to happen? We don't know. But however, since the market is getting so much oversold, any small good news can always drive the market upwards, because there are a lot of investors like all of us waiting just to keep buying in this discount sale. Well, coming to some major results that came up yesterday, Tata Motors came up with their results. In fact, I would say it's a happy news, because the loss, in fact, last year they had a loss of 7,605, and now the loss has reduced to 1,032 crores, which is of course a major recovery. But then there are concerns of the margin still going down, majorly because of the input cost going up. So that can of course be recovered when the prices go high. But then this is what happens, the interest rates will go high with the RBI raising interest rates. The product prices will go higher. Then what will happen? The entire cost around us going higher. That is nothing but inflation. Naturally, with all this, slowly our spending will come down. We will try to manage our expense. We will try to invest more savings for future. With all these things, inflation has to come down slightly. When the interest rates of home loans will go up, naturally the number of homes being bought also reduces, which is not great for the economy. So when such things happen, there could be a small recession kind of effect for a short term till things are back in control. And once inflation is back in control, we would again see the interest rates coming down and things getting back to normal. So this is the kind of phase that we can expect in the coming months in the head. Now coming to another results, major result was Larsen and Toubro coming up with the results. In fact, of course, as expected, they are on a positive side. They have seen the profit surging by almost 10% year on year, and the revenue was also up by almost 10%. So that is something good, and we are already invested into Larsen and Toubro, and of course we are also continuing to invest on a SIP basis. Coming to Apollo Tyres, the profit actually has come below expectation, has at 113 crores, and the revenue was also kind of okayish kind of. It was of course slightly higher than the estimate, but still not a great result. Let us see how the market reacts to this. Coming to Siemens, actually has reported up 2.5% year-on-year rise in net profit, and the revenue also has come in at around 3,628 crore. And if you look at one good stock which has come into a radar recently, this is Tube Investments of India. Yes, the company has clocked a whopping 57.5% year-on-year growth in consolidated profit and has touched 225 crores, majorly driven by operating income and the top line. So this is something good. Even the revenue has grown by 25%. So note it down, Tube Investments of India is one stock that is added to a radar. I will share when I enter into it. Another stock which is added to my radar is Windlass Biotech. Yes, Windlass Biotech has reported a 151% year-on-year growth in profit, and majorly again driven by operating income and top line. Revenue also has grown by 14%. So that is also something looking good. So these are two stocks which is in my radar, but is the right time to enter. I will share it in the community when I buy it. So apart from that, coming to some stock specific news, Vodafone Idea is still expecting the government to convert the conversion of almost, they have dues of almost 16,100 crores to the government, which is to be paid to the government. So there was a offer from government to actually convert it into stakes. So the government is going to get about 33% stake in Vodafone Idea. So if this comes up, of course, this is a good news for Vodafone Ideas, because this, when reducing the debt, the company of course is losing some share, but apart from that, when the company's debt is kind of reduced, it is a great thing because company can focus on growth instead of focusing on repaying the debt. Dalmia Bharat also is in news because they have actually planned a 2,600 crore investment in the next 4 years for their expansion facilities in Tamil Nadu. So this is something good. Let us watch out what's happening in Dalmia Bharat today. Apart from that, Coforge, I had told you about the results yesterday. It was good, but attrition was higher and we could see the stock falling yesterday. But somebody did notice this good company and has bought into it. UTI Mutual Fund. Yes, they actually bought 27,378 shares in the company in the open market transaction and has increased its stake from 4.98% to 5%. So of course the Coforge is kind of okay, it's a good company only. Only thing is the attrition levels are kind of high and making it little unstable. But over a longer run, it should be good for investment. But apart from that, looking at some IPO news, LIC, I hope all of you have checked your allotment and hope you received it. If you have got your allotment of LIC, do post it in the comment. I would like to understand who got it. Apart from that, if you look at Prudent Corporate Advisory, IPO had opened just yesterday and was closed yesterday, and it has subscribed 1.22 times. So I'm still wondering, even in such a market condition, people are subscribing to IPOs. There is also a new IPO coming up on the cards, that is Paradeep Phosphates, which is a fertilizer company, and the IPO is going to be opening on 17th. And if you look at the price band is set at 39 to 42 rupees. The company is kind of looking good. I have looked at it, but then the valuations are also kind of okay. However, let us see how things perform. I am not very interested in IPOs. Now, coming to the market today, 16,800 continues to be a good support, because if you look at the market right now, if I look at Nifty index, SGX Nifty is already trading at 15,973, which is close to 16,000. Of course, a gap up opening is expected in the market today, but then it can also be sold into when the market is on the last day of the week, because people don't want to hold their positions over a weekend.